Hello, my lovely Padawans, and welcome to all of you Yu-Gi-Oh fans. Today, in this video, I'm gonna make a deck profile of my MFC deck, the Magician's Force deck, which I used and our Zim used in our, of course, which we will use in our battle. First off, one copy of Great Angus, pretty straightforward. 1800 level 4 beater, nothing special. Then one United Resistance, one People Running About, and one Oppressed People, because that's one of the very tricky to pull things in this deck, pretty much. Which works with. Do I even have that card? Yes. So these three cards. This is one of the little combos in this deck. So these three cards must be on your field so that you can activate this trap card, the Huge Revolution, pretty much. Which sends all the cards in your opponent's hand to the graveyard and destroys all cards on your opponent's field. But you must have these three utterly weak cards. Well, the Oppressed People is okay, it's got 2000 defense points, but the other two are kinda crap. So yeah. You can pull it, but it's difficult. Then the boss monster of the deck is the Chaos Command Magician. It's a level 6 Spellcaster, which can negate the effects of monster cards that targets this card. Pretty much, which it cannot be targeted by monster effects, which is awesome. And then 2 copies of Giant Orc. It's a 2200 beater, which if it attacks, it attacks, it goes back to the defense position. It's similar to Goblin army, you know. But I have these guys because I have one of these, which is a Union monster, the second Goblin that can equip itself to the Giant Orc and do some crazy shit. Now, 3 copies of Amazoness Paladin, it's one of the core Amazon cards. Pretty much it gains 100 attack for each Amazoness monster you control, including itself. So it has 1700. If it's alone on the field, that's 1800. Easy peasy. Get another one, and get another Amazoness Paladin, then both of them become really, really powerful. 1900 each. And one copy of Amazoness Swordswoman, which is okay. I mean, the battle damage that you may take from from battles with it, the opponent takes, which is nice. Then one copy of Z-Metal Tank, which is another Union monster. Pretty much this set introduced the Union mechanic in the game. So I obviously have a lot of Union monsters in this deck. Then one copy of Burning Beast. It's another Pyro. It's a Pyro Union monster that works with the Freezing Beast, so I have 3 copies of these. So basically, Freezing Beast is the main card here in this combo. So once per turn during your main phase, if you control this monster on the field, you can equip it to your Burning Beast and vice versa as an equipped spell card, or unequip the Union Beast, equipment, and special summon this card in face-up attack position. While equipped to a monster by this card's effect, each time the equipped monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can destroy a face-down spell or trap card on the field. So that's but only one monster can be equipped with one Union monster at a time. And if the equipped monster is destroyed as a result of battle, you can destroy the equipment monster instead. So pretty much, the Burning Beast has the same effect if it's equipped to Freezing Beast and vice versa. But unfortunately, I could not pull more Burning Beasts. I just got a lot of Freezing Beasts and, just one of these. Then 3 copies of Roulette Barrel. That's a really nice machine level 4 2000 defense monster. Pretty much once per turn. Of course, it has to be face up. You can roll a 6-sided dice twice. Then you can choose one result and destroy one monster on the field whose level is equal to that result. So if you're lucky, you can get rid of some, or unlucky you might end up destroying your, but you can destroy your opponent's monster with up to level 6, not higher. Then 1 copy of Royal Magic Library, that's another 2000 defense monster that every time a spell card is activated, you can place a spell counter on it, and when you have 3 spell counters, you can remove those 3 and draw a card. So while it's defending you, and you and your opponent are activating spells, on the 3rd spell you can activate its effect and get a bonus draw, which is nice, because back in the day 2000 defense was a lot, like seriously a lot. Then 1 copy of the Dark Scorpion's Cliff, the Trap Remover, which is nice. I have it in because when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can activate one of 2 effects. Either target 1 spell or trap card on the field and destroy it, or send the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. So it's got 2 really nice effects. Of course, there is a price. It has a very low attack power of 1200, but if you can just summon it at a point when you're in the lead greatly, or your opponent has nothing on the field but a lot of, face downs, there it is. Then 1 copy of Big Koala. That's a really nice flip effect monster that when it's flipped, it just burns your opponent for 400 damage for each card in their hand. So if they have 5 cards, that's 2000 damage done. Then 1 copy of Old Vindictive Magician. It's another flip effect monster that destroys a monster on your opponent's field, targets and destroys. And then 1 copy of Cat Ears Tribe. Pretty much, this the effect of this monster is that its original attack, the original attack of your opponent's monster that battles this card during his or her turn, becomes 200 points during this damage step. So pretty much you can use this card to bait out your opponent's strong monster. When they attack you, their attack power becomes equal as this one, so 200, and the both creatures die. Then 1 copy of Second Goblin. As I told you earlier, this card is the Union monster that has a combo with the Giant Orc. So pretty much once per turn during blah 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 blah, you can equip this to the Giant Orc as an equipment spell. You can also unequip it and special summon it whenever you want. Anyway, while equipped to a monster by this card's effect, you can change the equipped monster position once per turn. So pretty much the combo is usually when you attack with Giant Orc in the battle phase, when the battle phase ends, it goes to defense, right? But if Second Goblin is equipped to it, by the effect of the Union as an equipment spell / monster card, once per turn, which is pretty much enough, you can change its battle position. So you have Giant Orc equipped with Second Goblin, you attack in the battle phase, it goes to defense, then you use the effect of Second Goblin to flip Giant Orc back to attack. And unfortunately, I did not draw more than 1 Second Goblin, but 2200 level 4 monster, that's really, really good. Then 2 copies of Amazonas Spellcaster. That is a Amazonas archetype support card. Pretty much you target 1 Amazonas monster you control and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and you switch the original attack of those targets until the end of this turn. So your opponent has a strong monster, right? And you have the Amazonas Swordswoman, but you have the Amazonas Spellcaster, right? You use it, switch attack, you kill the opponent's monster, easy peasy. And then 1 copy of Wave Motion Cannon, which is one of the more OTK techniques in this deck, pretty much. It's a continuous spell card which during your main phase you can send to the graveyard to inflict 1000 damage to your opponent's life points for each standby. So pretty much each of your standby phases, this card gets a counter, and each counter, which is one standby phase, is 1000 life points. So whenever you want, if it has accumulated enough counters, you can send it to the graveyard and burn your opponent for that said amount. So you can pretty much, one of the tricks in this deck is you can stall, so that Wave Motion Cannon can become, powerful, and then just end your opponent with the massive burn damage. Then 2 copies of Frontline Base. These are continuous spell cards that are supports for unions. Pretty much once per turn you can special summon one level 4 or lower union monster from your hand, which can help you with those union plays. Let's say you have in your hand Freezing and Burning Beast, you summon the Freezing Beast, and then with the effect of Frontline Base, you can special summon the Burning Beast, and then get the combo, right? Then one copy of Autonomous Action Unit, that's an equipment spell card that first you have to pay a price of 1500 life points. Then you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon that target to your side of the field in face-up attack position, and equip it with this card. Pretty much, it's like a Monster Reborn, but it has a really big price, to be honest. But it can be a lifesaver in a very dire situation, in a duel where you have no other choice. Pretty much, when your monster is destroyed, this card is destroyed as well, and vice versa. Just like any other, like revive / equipment spell card. Then for the traps, we have one copy of Hidden Spellbook. Pretty much during your turn, you can target 2 spell cards in your graveyard and shuffle those targets in your deck, which is really, really awesome. One copy of Adhesion Trap Hole. When your opponent summons a monster or monsters, you have that monster or monster's original attack. So let's say they summon like Chaos Command Magician, right? And you activate Adhesion Trap Hole, and his attack becomes 1200 until it leaves the field. It's not for the turn. It is for as long as the monster remains face up on the field. Then one copy of Physical Double. Pretty much during your opponent's turn, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, special summon one Mirage token with the same level, type, archetype, attack, and defense as that target. And then you can destroy this token during the end phase. It's a defensive trap card that can bait out an attack and cause your opponent to destroy their monster while fighting your token. Then one copy of Meteor Rain. During this turn, when your monsters attack during the turn it's activated, when your monsters attack with an attack that is higher than the defense of your opponent, pretty much it gives your monsters piercing damage for one turn. That's it. Then the Huge Revolution, as I said earlier in the video, is the trap card that works with the United Resistance, the People Running About, and the Oppressed People's monster cards. So pretty much what it does is that this card can only be activated during your main phase when People Running About, Oppressed People, and United Resistance are face up on your side of the field. So then you can send all the cards in your opponent's hand in the graveyard and destroy all cards your opponent controls on the field. I think I said that already, but just in case you didn't hear me, I said it again. Then one copy of Amazoness Archers, that is another Amazoness support card. You can activate it only when your opponent declares an attack while you control any Amazoness monster. All monsters your opponent controls are changed to face-up attack position. Flip effects are not activated, that is very important. And they lose 500 attack as long as they remain face-up on the field. And your opponent must, that is the most amazing part, must attack with all of their monsters. So if they have weaker-ish, and this card makes them weaker monsters, oh man, it's gonna be fun. Then one copy of Pineapple Blast. That is, when you normal summon a monster, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, destroy your opponent's monsters so that your opponent controls the same number of monsters as your opponent chooses. The same number of monsters as you. Then your opponent, and of course, your opponent can choose which of their monsters are destroyed, which is nice. You can level up the field, right? Then finally 2 copies of Thunder of Ruler. During your opponent's standby phase you can activate this card and there is no battle phase this turn. Very, very straightforward. So I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. The next video is going to be the battle between this deck and the same deck. And I hope you will enjoy that as well, and may the force be with you always.